Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Beyond the Facade podcast. I'm Doña Junta from Swami Chronicles. And today I have a co host for the day, and that's Hood Historian. The reason that he's here is because we're going to talk about a funny topic we both love. Also, Sabrina is in New Orleans right now, but she actually might pop in and say hello. So we'll see if she comes in a little bit. But if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Keon, aka the Hood Historian. Chilling on a Sunday. I'm off. I'm working a lot, but I'm here.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's been a minute since I recorded any episodes with Sabrina. Uh, as I said in the last one, I had a baby, so it's been really challenging trying to
Yeah.
podcast and have a baby. He's actually
Yes.
sleeping right now, so it's the timing
That's
to be
cool.
able to record. So
Yeah.
that and just trying to figure out my new schedule and stuff. So
Yes.
it doesn't mean that we're gone forever. We just have to readjust kind of what's going to happen for the future episodes. So it might get back in a better position next year. We can't make promises because it's so harder. It's much
Yeah.
harder with children or a child around.
Yeah.
So that's me, just working and just still trying to gather ideas. But that's kind of what I've been up to. How about you?
Yeah. Same thing with me. Life happens. Gotta take care of my family. Gotta take care of work. You know, we're driving up to the mountains now because they started to camp up again, and I'm real busy this time of year, and but I'm just trying to make time for everything, and
Yeah, yeah. I
it's
seen you have
you
a
have
lot of events on the weekends and whatnot, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
nonstop. So I don't even know what I'm doing next weekend, but I know I'm going to UCLA. I never did a trip to UCLA before in my school
Okay.
bus, so every time I had it, it got canceled or whatever. So next Sunday will be my first time driving my bus to UCLA, so I'm looking forward to that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
this is like a total side note, but I remember going on field trips in the school bus. The only thing I remember with that was the sack lunches that LA Unified
yes,
School District give you. I
yeah.
don't know what Long Beach did, but we
Llamas
had
do the same thing.
sack
Yeah.
lunches with bologna sandwiches. It was always bologna.
But for us, it was something like that. It was bologna or ham, whatever, or turkey. But the cookie, they used to put a cookie in it, and that cookie
I
used
don't
to
even
be the
remember if there was a cookie.
in Long Beach we had cookies in it, and it was like the best thing ever. So
Okay.
I didn't know at the time, but I know now. But when they have full time bus drivers, the bus drivers on their ticket slip it would say go to the kitchen and pick up the lunches. So the bus drivers have to go to the main kitchen, put a
Yeah.
hairnet on, and actually get the food and put it under their buses.
Under the
And
bus.
so
Yes, I
yeah,
remember. We air
yeah,
under the bus.
yeah, yeah. They put it under their bus, and then they'll tell whoever's the teacher or the leader. They say pull up at 11:15, and we're eating lunch. So we do whatever, but we have to be back to drop off the lunches.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so funny. That's a whole nother topic though.
yeah,
That's what I
yes,
think about though.
yeah,
But today we have a really funny special topic because it's kind of like a funny obsession. Well, I have and Hood Historian also he's into it too as well. So we're going to discuss mid-century architecture, not just the pretty architecture you hear about in Palm Springs. I mean, you think of mid-century, you think of all the mid-century furniture and the Palm Springs type of houses that people are like, "Oh my god, they're like so glitchy, kitschy and people go over there and take photos." But
yeah.
we're not talking about quite that. We're going to be talking about more of the funky, we love it, we hate it type of architecture mid-century. And I don't know, it was just something that I just needed to discuss with somebody.
Yeah, yeah, I'm down. Yeah,
So, it's kind of a love hate for me and him as well because you know through the time I have posted a lot of early architecture from like the Victorian era, the bungalows, the Art Deco, the streamline, the Spanish revival, and those are always really nice no matter they
yeah,
just look nice. But the mid-century, it's still around just like some of the other ones, and when I see it, it's like I wanna, like, throw up, but then I don't. I don't know.
Yeah,
What about
yeah,
you, like, when you're kinda seeing it around?
yeah. So it's the same thing. There's some tasteful ones, and then there's some. They got a they got a blank checkbook, and they're like, do what you want to do. So some of these structures are over the top, but it's up to the architect. That's their interpretation, how they wanted to do whatever. But I'm like, did they really do that? They went all out. Some of the stuff
Yes.
they like, go ahead, do it.
So I kinda have different favorites from the decades. So just as some, history, it does kinda start off on the in the '40s, but the prime time is the '50s and the '60s, and now it's stretching into the '70s, even '80s, because as time passes, it becomes mid-century, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I kinda have favorite eras, and we could share about that now and later, but what's your favorite kinda time period
The
from
late
the
'50s. the
yeah,
the late '50s. I know it started in the '40s, but the late '50s was like the I guess the golden era.
yeah,
Then it had atomic. So we had atomic stuff,
yes,
galaxies and stars and
yeah.
all that stuff. So it's like jets. So it's like the late '50s, early '60s. You can look at that and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, that's nice. But that was my
Yes.
favorite period because it gets boring. Everything gets boring as the '60s progresses on. You can tell when something was made in the mid '60s and later. Just like the cars, it's the same thing with the cars.
That's
The cars
true,
got
that's true.
boring. Like the car paint jobs got boring. That's why on my 1965 Volkswagen, the colors were boring.
Okay.
By the time 1965 hit, the colors were boring for Volkswagen Beetle. So I had to pick a '50s color. It's called coral red. So it's a coral color, coral red. They made that color the coral color in the
Oh,
late '50s to the early '60s. So the color I have, they didn't have that after maybe '61 or maybe '60. It was a couple years, and that was it. And then as we progressed into the '60s,
that's a good thing that you noticed, the colors changed, yeah.
yeah, and to my opinion, they got boring. White, green, black, Yukon yellow, and like maybe ruby red. There was nothing pizzazzy about the colors. And same thing, in my opinion, about the architecture. It just
Yeah,
ah
but for me, I agree with you, I like the if I when I find a building that's built in the '50s, it's like, "Oh, wow, yeah, I love it." 'Cause it's kind of harder to find nowadays for some reason, at
yeah,
least the ones that I'm attracted to. And
yeah,
then the early '60s are, like, same thing, like, '50s to early '60s, that's kinda my favorite. I and I'll say why I hated the '70s, you know, but, something ugly I think there's been a stereotype about the '70s, like, it
yeah.
got cheap and ugly or something.
Yes, yes. But
But
look, the thing is, it was the same people still in business. So it's like it was the same guys. They wasn't retired yet. A lot of them were still working. So why you went from? But they was going with the trends. With the it
yes.
was it was the sign of the time. So it's like, dang, you did that in 1958. Now 1976, you doing this ugly ugly
You,
building.
like,
But
covered, like, something with carpet or, like, wood paneling or something.
yeah, the
Yeah.
wood exactly.
So, I'll say a little bit history of some of the architecture we like. So I'm gonna start with the Googie architecture, and that's what he was mentioning with the space age or the
Yeah,
what did you call it?
atomic, space age. What?
Atomic, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, atomic or Googie. So Googie architecture
You
started
know what?
uh-huh.
I have a year. I worked at Milliken High School, and I
Yeah.
have and I collected the yearbooks. I have a yearbooks from like the '50s or '60s, and it has a galaxy on the page. The yearbook. Same thing with the yearbooks. If you look at the yearbooks, they do the same thing. In the late '50s, they were a lot of them were nice, and then
They're
they
obsessed. obsessed. They were
Yes,
obsessed. Yeah.
yes. Anyways, sorry about
Yeah.
that.
No worries. So Googie architecture was from the 1950s into the 1960s, and it was influenced by the space age, jets, atomic age, car culture, drive-ins, motels, gas stations, car washes, coffee shops, and the goal was for the driver to get the attention when they seen the building. The term Googie was coined by Douglas Haskell in 1952, and I guess it just stuck from there. But the reason that it's that we notice Googie, if you I could describe it, I mean, mostly you see the boomerangs, the boomerang roofs that look like they're gonna fly away, and
Yeah,
we'll see some examples of that in the photos later.
yeah,
The neon, right?
yeah.
The stars that are like in the neon, the starburst. What else do you notice about Atomic for you?
Um, the they like they catch your eye like like in and out, the in and out the logo. That's that's it right there. And
Yeah,
it could be like it catches your eye. So when you driving and you see a sign like that, you gonna look. It might be a liquor store, and you like subconsciously it gets to you. It's like
yeah,
okay, let me go there. You know, it does work.
it does, it does. And so it's just and it's also during that time there was a space race, I believe. So the United States was exploring with, space and sending
Yeah,
rockets and in the whole moon landing eventually.
yeah,
So there was just kind of like a obsession with that, and it
yes,
it came on as well with the architecture.
yes.
So one thing when I was asking myself, like, which mid-century am I gonna really talk about that I am loving and hating? I want to bring up the Dingbat apartments. You're familiar with Dingbat apartments?
Yes.
Okay, and
Yes.
most of it we're gonna show is Dingbat. So Dingbat Dingbat
Yeah.
apartment.
Dingbats. Yeah.
So those are the ones I hate, but I'm obsessed with. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of history of that. So the Dingbat apartments started becoming developing. Well, actually, before that, before I even knew the history and posted them, I kind of would notice them when I was younger. Like something
Yes.
about them was noticeable. For you too?
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with me. You go first. I'll tell you.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
I don't know, it was just something about the apartments that was noticeable. Um, I was thinking, like, maybe because I was into, like, graffiti, I don't know if it was that because I used to look at old buildings. Um, I'd never hit up apartments, I wasn't tagging on apartments or nothing, but maybe people I knew lived in apartments like that, so I used to hang around. So I can't really pinpoint why I used to like them, but I think a few people I knew lived in apartments like that. I didn't really notice that it was a mid-century or anything, but something about
Yeah.
those apartments was attracting. So later on, I found out that there were dingbat apartments that were built in the 50s and 60s during like a housing crisis, and they needed to build, homes for people or places. But why were you attracted to them when you were younger?
Because like I grew up in an apartment for a couple of years, but I always lived in houses with my parents.
Uh huh.
But my friends, they would live in apartments, or we rode bicycles in the '90s
Uh huh.
everywhere, and I was already by myself riding bicycles in like '91 and 1990 third grade. So
Yeah.
90, 91, 92, especially 92 in fifth grade, we would ride everywhere. And a lot of dingbat apartments, they had a carport under. So
Yeah.
it was like either gated up because a lot of stuff happened in there. People hang out,
Yeah.
gang members would hang out. It's like a fortress. 'Cause it's gonna be dark under there, so you
Yeah.
can see out. You can see out, but people can't see in there because it might be too bright with the sun. And then they'll
Right.
have a storage for they might have a storage place that you can put storage cabinets and everything. But a lot of times it would be, don't go back there. Somebody might be waiting
Yeah,
for you under there.
you're
So
right. It
from
was like in a hangout kind of under
yeah,
there.
because it's like it's shady. I mean, it had shade, not shady, but it could have shady characters under there.
It's
But
shady.
other times people would hang out under there. So
Right.
and so or they have a car that don't run, and they just
Yeah.
be parked under there.
Okay,
So
here comes we're gonna do a pause real quick. Here comes Sabrina to
okay,
say a little something before we finish. Here you go. Hey, welcome. We're
hey,
recording live.
Hey everyone, I don't
Um,
know if you guys can hear me. As you can
we can
tell, I'm in the famous
yeah,
Arnold's in the French Quarter of New Orleans, Louisiana. So here's to
nice.
the
wow,
Beyond the Facade podcast viewers.
There you go. Wow.
wow, I like that.
Friends, if
It's
they're in
delicious there, by the
conversation,
way. You got a little
vampires
blurry.
in
Go.
daylight, and
Yeah.
a Bloody Mary for you all.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. We miss you here. We wish you were
We
here for
miss
the
you
episode, but I know
too.
you're having fun.
Yes, and there's Yuri back there. Yuri,
Where is she
say
at?
hi.
We're live on the episode. Hi.
We live on our podcast.
Yeah. Well, have fun
So
and enjoy your
enjoy.
thank
food.
you. And
Yeah, we'll
maybe
see you back
I
when you
would be present if
return.
we were talking about Art Deco.
I know, right? We talking about the funky. You know what we
I
hate
know
and
how much
love.
you love that.
We'll definitely bring you back on so you can update us on your trip and see what else is going on when you get
Sounds
back.
good. You guys have a good
Alrighty.
conversation.
Alrighty, we
Bye.
Bye,
will.
listeners.
Bye.
Bye. All
Awesome.
right. Well, I'm glad she was able to come. She's having fun in New
Yes.
Orleans. That place, Arnold's, is delicious. It's like brunch and it's amazing. So I'm
Oh,
jealous that she's eating delicious food over there.
yeah, I gotta
But
get out
yeah, you
more.
were saying like somehow you remember those apartments, riding bikes, hanging out, being
Yeah.
in that. Yeah.
Cause we
So
got
do
to hang
I.
out there. Cause we lived in houses. We lived in a house, so we never got to have that apartment life. So when I used to explore or go to my friend's house, it would be cool to have a change of pace. You know what I mean? And since we lived where we lived, we knew, we just knew. Like a lot of times the dingbats are in the city where a lot of houses are. They're not in the
Mhm.
suburbs, and Long Beach has suburbs in East Long Beach, so there's
Right.
less apartments over there. So it's mostly in the inner city, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I grew up in a 1920s apartment, like an old style one too, but I remember there used to be some, now that I think about it, some dingbat slash garden apartments. They were
Yeah,
kind of a combination,
yeah,
and I remember this kid that lived there. I won't name him because he's probably somewhere around. He
yeah,
used to have like, I don't know why we were saying go over there in that area because I think my aunt lived in the apartment complex too, and we went in his apartment one time and it was like infested with roaches. Like there's roaches crawling everywhere.
yeah.
It was really funky. Like, and then after that, we're like, oh, that's scary. You don't want to go in his apartment. I don't know. Poor guy. Poor guy, but
Yeah,
it was definitely
yeah,
pretty
yeah. We see,
unpleasant.
we see it all. Living where we lived. We see
Yeah.
it all. Yeah,
So, I'll go ahead and finish explaining the dingbat. So, the dingbats were constructed in the 50s and 60s during the post-war construction boom. During the time, there was a housing crisis in which, across the nation, 3 million new residencies were built as the cities tore down old buildings for these new apartments. So, imagine the old buildings they tore down. That must have been like amazing compared
yeah,
to what they put up in a sense.
yes,
So just to describe it for people that won't be able to see the photos later, dingbats were usually 2 to 3 story apartments, typically stucco with carports or garages in the back or in the front or the back. They were considered cheap construction. The inside layout was really basic, usually the living room connected to the kitchen with that little like kind of it wasn't like divided. I don't know if you remember like the living
yeah,
room and then like there was like a
a counter, like a
Counter,
bar or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
counter,
yeah, yeah,
and it's
yeah,
connected to the kitchen. Um, so they were considered cheap, but what they did was they added things on the outside of the building to attract the residents, and usually with like signage with names on the buildings, starburst lamps, those fucking lamps I hate that never
yeah.
do they
They
turn
never
on?
work. Yeah, like they never. When I see a lamp that's still working, I'm like, oh, it's working. Yeah, or
You're
one
right.
is missing. They're supposed to have two, and one might be missing, whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love those. I
Now
like
now
them.
we gotta
I
find
like
one that
them.
works.
Yeah, yeah. You never can find one that works. You know, like or when I do dinner now, it's gone. When you see an
Yeah,
old apartment
God.
and then the lamps are gone, like hey, yeah,
Yeah, those lamps, and we're gonna point them out for the people that can see the photos later, but they're just some weird looking lamps.
yeah.
Um, Also the dingbacks, they were called dingbacks, but because I think back in the days they used to do typography, and the little metal things for the typography they used to call them dingbats, and
Oh
some of
yeah,
those symbols like the stars and stuff are part of typography or something like that.
yeah.
So
I
that's
didn't
kind
know.
of what way they named it that. Um, and also like the names, they wanted to make them sound very fancy,
Yeah,
like either French names or chateau or there's the Capri. There's a lot of
a
those
lot of
Capri.
those. Yeah, yeah,
The so the names made it sound like alluring for some of it.
exactly. Yeah,
So the construction was that it had to have the parking either on the bottom, like the carport he described, or sometimes they have it in the back, or sometimes it is garages in the bottom, like really little ones that you
yeah.
see. Uh, so Deanbags, the reason that why they're special is because actually they're not allowed to be built anymore because of
Wow.
today's standards in construction. First of all, the traffic, the rules for traffic or something like that. You can't have an apartment where you have to back out into the street. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
parking? Yeah. So that
What?
wasn't allowed. I guess
I had no. I mean, I didn't have a clue. Wow.
yeah, it wasn't allowed because they stopped doing that. Maybe it got dangerous or something where the parking where you gotta back out.
Yeah,
At least that's what they were saying. And then also they weren't retrofitted for earthquakes so much.
yeah,
So a lot of them could tear down based on the shape and because they could
yeah.
fall into the carport, like the
Exactly. You probably fall right into the garage.
yeah, so that's
Yeah,
why they're not any longer able to build that style, and they're stuck in time, so you won't see those anymore.
yeah. They can
They
keep
started
them, but
build
they can't make any more.
No, they started doing more townhomes. You know the townhomes?
Yeah,
They also have garages, but they're fancier and they cost a lot more,
yeah.
condos and townhomes, so
Well,
no more
deeper
doing that
pockets. Deeper
now, yeah.
pockets can get away with a lot.
Yeah, so safety codes, earthquake codes prevented them from, being built to this day, so I think for me, that's what we'll ask ourselves too. What makes your head turn? And for me, the thing that makes my head turn, one of the things at least. What about for you? When you're driving down the street, what could
The
make your head turn?
the color. I mean, if it's the paint scheme, you'll see the apartment I picked. Like a nice paint job because a lot of times we grew up with nice apartments from the mid-century, but they're painted one color, and the
Yeah,
owner he just wants. A lot of times these owners they're not the original owners. They don't have
right.
pride. They don't take pride. Not even just something in their portfolio. So they're gonna spend the least they can to make their profit, and I understand that too. But they'll pay a painter and paint everything one color. Everything
Yeah,
one color. So when you see an old mid-century apartment and it's like you could tell that they took the time to paint everything the way it's supposed to look, I love that. So a nice paint job will catch my eye because a lot of times apartments are very beautiful, but they're hidden because the single solid paint job. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're
you know,
right. Just another thing historically that I do also turn my head to is the breeze block walls.
yes,
And let me just give a quick history of breeze blocks. So breeze block walls are actually they actually started in the 1930s. So they were actually part of the Art Deco period, but they didn't become popular to the 1950s and 1960s. And then they died out about the 1970s. But now they're making a comeback. So a lot of people are obsessed with breeze blocks and they're kind of making it part of their architecture now. At least people that could afford an architect.
yes, and
So
yeah.
why do you like breeze blocks? And could you describe what they are?
There's a lot of there's apartments in Lomita like that too, and with breeze blocks on it on Lomita Boulevard. So anyway, they're bricks and they have like patterns on it, and so they can have just different patterns on it. So I guess they call them breeze blocks too, right? So breeze, so
Yeah,
they can
because I
so
guess
air can
for
go through it, right?
yeah, air, which is a good concept, right? But
Exactly.
it just looks really fucking old, old style when you see
Yeah,
one.
especially if it's painted to go with the if they're the right color, because sometimes they'll paint the breeze blocks in the building the same color,
I hate
and
that.
you
That's what happened to
yeah
my apartment building. That my favorite one. I'll show you. I hate that.
yeah they just like it has to there has to be some kind of I don't know what to call it, but it can't be the same color. It can't be the same.
No,
It gotta
they
be
don't.
offset. It gotta be off a little bit. So
But
when they
that means
paint
they got
everything,
lazy about it.
yes, paint everything. A lot of times they'll cover them up too. They're like they might stick wood over the damn breeze blocks. And
No, yeah.
then on top of that, they might have too much vegetation. Sometimes as the years go on, they just let stuff go.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it's cleaner with less.
Oh,
You
yeah, so you're
know,
saying, like, when you can't even see the apartment anymore and it's
yeah, you
overgrown?
can't. Yes,
Yeah.
like that gas station in Gardena on that's Gardena, right? On
Yeah.
on on Western and El Segundo. If you look at the different years on Google, there's a palm tree that was this small, and that
Oh,
same palm
really?
tree got before they demolished the building. That palm tree was gotta be like 15 feet up in the air. And that was
Oh,
only a
wow.
couple years. Yeah,
Dang.
I'm gonna do then and
Well,
now like that too.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm thinking if it becomes overgrown, they probably a lot of the tiki apartments have, like, the foliage around and stuff.
yeah,
And it's okay, so some of these apartments, like I said earlier, they have a theme. And a lot of the themes that were really common in the 50s and 60s were the tiki style or Hawaiian,
yes.
um, you know
Aloha apartments.
yeah,
Someone like one of my Aloha apartments I did the other day. So when somebody like a post, you're like, oh yeah, it pops back up. So like, oh
yeah.
yeah, I did that. So somebody just like one of my Aloha apartments. Then and now I did, and Aloha. It makes you want to move in. It does. It does
I
though.
know.
You know, it
It does.
works, and especially when they
Some of them are still pretty nice, like, they keep up the garden and stuff.
yes,
So, I
but
seen one in Virginia, it's pretty nice.
and yes, look, Gardena, Hawthorne, Torrance. Those areas have like some of the best mid-century. The South Bay, like the South Bay, is like a time warp. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's full
yeah.
of tiki style mid-century greatness. It is,
I guess 'cause it started being developed post-war, I'm imagining, you know?
yeah,
But yeah, you're right, so the other thing that, okay, so what attracts me to mid-century, like I said, the breeze blocks, and I wish I coulda gone to this apartment building, but have you seen those apartment buildings? It's like a big fortress, like, it's like a wall, like, 50 feet high. There's the entrance in the middle, but there's no windows, it has, like, a sign, but it's, like, almost like a fortress, like, I don't know,
where
those are
where
really, really you haven't seen those?
I mean, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but is it fancy or just a plain wall in the front?
It could be plain. It could be if it's rare, it's breeze blocks wall, but it's like a fortress,
But a lot
and
of
you just
times,
entrance to the courtyard, and
yeah.
it's like there's no
But
windows.
look, a lot of times they used to have windows and they blocked them off. They blocked them off. A lot of those places have plexiglass windows, and then throughout the years they just cover them up.
Yeah,
There's an apartment like that in downtown, Los Alamitos. I mean Alamitos Beach on Fourth and Cerritos, and you can tell it had a luscious, courtyard and everything.
yeah,
And it's like they covered up the windows. They just covered up the windows. That's like the
yeah.
owners. The owners, some of these apartments, the owners just don't want to deal with the maintenance. Cover them up. They tell the maintenance
Right.
guy, give it a little glass, cover them up, paint it.
Yeah.
You know.
Um. Yeah. I'm gonna go to that. What I mean, these apartments with the fortress wall. When I post it, you'll see what I'm talking
So
about.
look, and then some of those apartments, you need like you have to dial the push the little number, the little silver keypad,
Yeah.
ding, 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 and then they'll buzz you in. I don't know how
Does that
that
even
works.
work still?
Yeah, I know. Like it says, push your name. It tells you what number to push, whatever. And then I don't know how that system works. That's an old ass system, and it still works. A lot of
Right.
apartments still works. I had a little
Didn't
side
they used
hustle.
to call it called your house phone, didn't
Yeah,
it?
I never
You had
lived
a
in one, but
number?
they did talk though. They did talk on it though. I had a side business. I did a lot of deliveries. And I had a
Yeah.
little side hustle from '08 to 2016. So I did a lot of deliveries off of Craigslist. And yeah, so you would push it, ding, 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 and it would make the noise, and then it would ring, and then it'll buzz. It would buzz the gate open or the door.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That old technology, and a lot of them still works though. Yeah,
Yeah, now it's like I wish I would remember what friends I have that lived in these, but it's like I can't even think right now, but
yeah.
that would be good.
That's from that period, from the '50s and '60s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um so w- so like I was saying about these apartments, I guess that's kind of what attracts me. So we're gonna and then okay, in the 1970s, according to architecture history, a lot of the brutalism apartment, brutalist style. If you don't know what that is, it's like those concrete buildings. Usually, you see a lot of like office buildings, concrete, no windows or very small windows,
yeah,
or courthouses. A lot of that mostly in the 70s.
yeah.
Very
Just
like brutal style, they call it.
I don't like that style. I really don't like it, but it did pop up in the '70s. It's like it ain't my cup of tea. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or
But
those arches, those weird arches. I hate those.
now a lot of times these buildings they're still here, but these corporations, these companies they'll remodel them. So I might
Yes.
still have the same bones, but they'll paint it a modern color.
Yeah.
There's a hospital. I haven't posted, but there's a hospital in West Adams. I never posted it. I'm doing a lot of research. I don't even have time to post. So, but
I
anyway,
know.
there's a hospital that they made like in the early '70s, and the they just remodeled it a couple years ago, and it was ugly to me, but they remodeled it they with a new paint job and everything, so it looks modern, even though it still has the same '70s bones on it.
Yeah. How many and I counted how many I had, but I didn't ask you earlier, I should have. How many kind of mid-century buildings do you have on your page, you think?
Whew,
Probably
I got
10?
at least at least 30. I have a
Yeah,
lot.
I have about
I
35 or so.
Yeah, I have a lot. I have a lot. I stretch stuff out. I do it and then I'll take a break off it. And get to something else. And I have the analytics on my. I know what I know it works on my page, but I still do. I still don't even. I still do what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, you're right, because sometimes I could run into like a whole street of mid-century stuff, and then I'll take photos of it and post a lot of it through the weeks. But I have about 35, and it ranges from mostly apartments, but liquor stores
yeah,
and hotels or
yeah.
motels. A lot of that's what I noticed, and a lot of them are actually gone now. So I'm really happy that I was able to document, them
I know in
somehow.
this little time that you've been documenting it, yeah, that's crazy how even 10 years ago a lot of stuff are gone. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah,
Or like you said, they paint it like they try to modernize it, where they paint it like a modern color, or they change the windows or something,
yeah,
and it's just like, eh, I don't like
exactly.
that.
Like
It,
why?
it loses the funky flavor.
Yeah, and a lot of
So
lot of lot of things before mid-century from the 1930s, 1920s, they had to they had to go through a lot of earthquake rehab. So when you see the older buildings, and you might see four windows, and it used to have five windows, they have to fill up one of the windows with bricks to reinforce the wall. So when you see
yeah,
like a lot of those old buildings with bricks filled up in between, they I guess those buildings have to be reinforced to be
yeah.
compliant.
No, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. So I mean, I guess now I could embrace some of the funk, because it's kind of whatever's like left, because
yeah.
they are building new things now, and I could say I don't really care for the new architecture, but I don't know how I feel later, but right now it's like, to me it's like just doesn't
But
have really any.
keep in mind, they said the same thing. They said the same thing in the '60s, in the '70s. It was just you know what I mean? Like get rid of this,
I
right?
know, but I guess
Yeah,
compared to like an Art Deco house or a Spanish house, I can't imagine the ones now. Like, oh my god, like this house from like 2023.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I guess it just depends how
It's
it's
not.
done.
I don't. Well, they stand the test of time. You know what I mean? Will they?
Yeah,
Oh, you. I mean, you have a point there because some stuff are like the houses from the '90s, like the Palmdale houses, the '80s, and the late '70s, '80s, and '90s apartments. I mean, houses in the Antelope Valley, Palmdale, Lancaster, Riverside. Some of those houses are ugly to me because they have a garage right in the front. You know, they have
okay,
no porch. They have no porch. You know, and they have a
yeah,
side door. You can't get in. You can't drive in the backyard. The backyard entryways is so narrow. The garage is right in the front, so it's like those houses to me they have no appeal. And compared to a craftsman bungalow,
but they
and
might later, I guess. But who
I don't
knows?
I don't think they ever will. That's my opinion. They're not gonna make a house from 1988 that was brand new in '88 in Lancaster. I can't say, oh, look at that house. No, maybe you can paint it, and stuff like that, but I
You
don't
think
know.
maybe like after our time? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Even the post-war houses, a lot of those post-war houses from the '40s, the cookie cutter ones,
Yeah.
they don't do nothing for me. They really don't. You know?
No, I know. I live in a cookie cutter post-war little house, and it's just like, it doesn't have too much. There's a few little details that are still vintagey, like the bathroom and stuff, like the tile and stuff.
Yeah,
But it doesn't have a lot of like, this the architecture on the outside is so great. No, not really.
yeah,
It's just
exactly.
plain.
And that
But
brings us. Go ahead. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
So that brings us back to gentrification.
Yeah.
A lot of the houses in South LA, they're original houses from the 1920s. 1920s and
Right.
30s and 40s. So it's like if you drive down any street in South LA, you can be in any street in a different neighborhood too. It's the same houses, damn near the same builder of the houses. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's like it's very I don't know. There's very nice areas in South LA that the people want back. You know, and they want
No,
to
that's true.
they
That's
want to
so
put
true.
yeah. And the rent was low. The houses prices were low. Now, uh, they buying them all up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know something like with the mid-century, like I said earlier, there's the mid-century that's like very kitschy, like the Palm Springs or like the I don't know, like the Brady Bunch type of places where
yeah,
like now they're retro, right? Like people that
yeah,
dress 1950s, they like that pinup style, they like the VW buses and
yeah,
tiki. Like it's like a
yeah,
trend. I don't know if you
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah. I
talking
know.
about.
Yes,
Yeah. So that's like very clean, very nice. But that's why I want to really talk about like the other stuff that is during that era that we're mentioning that it's still there, it's hanging on, but it's not appreciated. I guess we do, we love and hate it.
yeah,
So we're gonna talk about next our favorite buildings, and we're gonna do like a little slideshow. And we had a couple of our friends also contribute to the buildings that they enjoy, and then we'll kind of discuss as we go along. So before we get the slideshow, do you want to just bring up the the favorites that you're gonna talk about?
yeah.
So which ones are you gonna talk about?
Um, Seaview. Do you have that
Okay.
one?
Yes.
Yeah, that one because I love the colors to that one.
Okay.
And
So
then yeah,
uh-huh.
pull that one up.
So I'm gonna pull up the whole presentation and then we'll
Okay,
go from there.
okay.
So let's see. Mm, okay. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So and then we'll do it in the order. I don't even know what order I put it in, so bear with me.
Oh, no problem. We can play it by ear.
Okay. So we're gonna bring up a few of the ones that our friends shared. And this one's by Doña Mari. She goes by Mexicana Mundial. And this is a mid-century office building in Downey. So I never seen this one before. So it's like a pink three-story building,
Yeah.
very 1960s. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I can go without the color, but I like it though.
Yeah, it kind of has like a lot of curves on the top. It has the
Yeah.
typical like windows that are like very office like. I don't know. It's
Yes.
kind of hard to explain those windows. And in the bottom, it has. Does it look like it has stores? I don't know. It's like,
Oh,
oh
maybe
yeah,
office.
sandwich. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks like it has a sandwich place on the bottom, and then the entrance to the lobby has like a curved awning.
You
So
can put a lot of office. You can rent a lot of office space there. So that developer and the owner of that development, they were probably making a killing back in the day, and
yeah,
they
for
probably still
sure.
are. You know.
Yeah. So I like this one. I like it as well. It's still it's funky. It's retro. It's not too ugly, but
But
it's definitely
you,
vintage.
yeah. But I promise you, it wasn't that same solid color. It probably had more colors to it. You know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is okay, Eric, he brought something really early on, which is the Village Green apartments, and he has a whole spiel on that. So let me read that
Yeah.
for you guys. Can you still see
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
photo?
Yeah. It's still there. So I driven by. So,
Okay, so let me read it.
yeah.
So Eric Craig says one of my favorite mid-century buildings would be the Village Green. Planning for the development started in 1941 under the name of Thousand Gardens, which would hold upon 97 structures and 625 units for rent. This is the result of joint architectural development planner Clarence Stein and architect Reginald D. Johnson, and the Wilson Morrell and Alexander of Los Angeles architectural firm. The landscape architect was Fred Barlow, who also imagined a low density, car free community built around nature. So it's really about homes built around nature. The design is very demonstrative of public housing architecture at the time. So yeah, I don't know. Um, hold on, let me see. Could you still see the big picture?
Yeah,
Because I don't know if it's showing. Okay,
I can see it.
okay, it's showing the whole screen, right? I just want
Yeah,
to make sure. Okay, so Village Green does remind me of the projects, even though they're not
yeah,
projects. That's what I thought. What about you?
yeah, yeah. I thought they were projects when I drive when I see them, but they're open though. They're not gated, but most projects they're not gated anyway. So,
Yeah, I
but it
think
looks
they're.
like it. Yeah,
I don't know if you could buy them or they're just market value apartments. So, yeah, I thought they were projects. So, Eric has a whole documentary video on it. So, if you want to look it up, look at South LA Recap. He has a good
yes,
whole history on these apartments. So, this is very early mid century.
yes,
So, the next one he picked is the Holiday Bowl 1958. So, he says the Holiday Bowl was known for its Googie style architecture and for being a public outpost for Crenshaw residents for decades. Uh, the building and its surroundings was purchased in the 2000s. Also around the time it was denoted a historic landmark. But the developer rehabilitated the building and is now a home to a Starbucks. Oh
yeah,
wow, didn't know that.
yeah. It's still there. Yeah,
You seen it?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't
It's on
even know
Chris.
where that's at.
Yes, let me see if I can pull up an address for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Crenshaw. After maybe after rodeo. Let me see.
Sure.
Let's see. I'm traveling to South
Yeah, no problem. I could go
LA.
to the Yeah, I like it has like the boomerang roof. It's hard to tell what's on the wall. If it's like posters or what is that? It's weird.
Yeah, I like it. Let me see. Crenshaw Boulevard. Here we go. Denny's.
Yeah, I could see a lot that sign is cool too. Did they keep the sign, I wonder?
Um, let me see. I forgot if they keep the sign, but the building's there. Hold on.
Mm.
Let me see. The address. Yeah, the sign is there, but it's they incorporated. So we can go to 3739
Let's
Crenshaw
see.
Boulevard. You can see it on Google Maps. Or 3724. How about that?
Crenshaw Boulevard?
Yeah, 3724.
That? Can you see that?
No, I can't see your thing. There's a Western Union and Starbucks there.
You can't see the screen right now?
I can see your screen, but I see the old building.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
The
Oh,
the
you're
the, the Starbucks address is 3722 Crenshaw Boulevard.
okay. So let me go back to share that. Hold on.
Uh, Yeah, 3722 Crenshaw Boulevard. So it's still there.
You see it?
Maybe. Yeah, there you go.
Oh
Booyah.
yeah, I see it now.
See, that's the sign right there.
Yeah. So they definitely modernized it, but they kind of, I would never think that it was an old bowling alley.
Exactly. So they modernized it. So it still has the same bones,
Yeah.
but it's basically hidden now.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but if you look at it from the other side, it still has the same bones. So
Yeah. No, that's cool. So, let's go back to the presentation. Okay. So the next one is Norm's Restaurant in Huntington Park. And this is what Javier sent us from he said, I love this building because I grew up going there with my parents. We go celebrate accomplishments or just an inexpensive breakfast. As an adult, I've grown to appreciate the architecture and history. An excellent example of Googie architecture, it opened in 1959. This is the third Norms built, is the second longest operating Norms, and the first one to have full exhibition cooking. I love watching the cooks chum out eggs, pancakes, hash browns, and all the other delicious food. And I'll click on what it is. Could you see that?
I can see the. I don't see the building yet, but I see the writing.
Okay.
You read.
Okay. Can you see that now?
No, I see me.
Oh, sorry.
That's good.
Let me pull up the screen that he shared. Uh oh, here it is. Can you see it now?
It's coming. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, cool. So it's the
Wow.
norms definitely from that era.
Yeah, I like it.
Nice.
I like the Norm sign. I
Yeah.
like that. I like that building. It looks nice. It's like a time warp.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And so let me pull the next one up. Let me see. You see that? Oh no, that's the same one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I don't know. I can't get to the other one for some reason. So, but it's a Norms building. Thank you, Javier, for sharing that. Okay, so let's get back to. Okay, that's yours.
Yeah.
Um, hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Let me pause this real quick.
Okay.
Hold on. So, could you see your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and share about your pick.
Yeah. So this gas station on the corner of El Segundo in Western and Gardena. This is one of the over the top ones in my opinion. It's
Mhm.
I take it it's Googie because of the big old wings. It has
Mhm.
that big wing on the roof. So
Yeah.
I can picture gas pumps there and the garage in the back and stuff and being active. That's a busy intersection. So I bet they had lots of business at one point. But this gas station, it makes you want to go there though, just the way it looks. It will get your attention. So the whoever built it, they went all out. Or modernized it. It could have been an old gas station from the 30s, and they modernized it. So to me, it's extreme.
Yeah, it is.
I
And
like it,
what
but
you
it's
know when it
extreme.
closed?
I don't know. It's never been open. I never seen it open. So it wasn't open when you go back to the last Google Map Street View.
Uh-huh.
I think 2007, 2008, it was already closed. It was boarded up. So my thing is next, I need to find the address because there's no address on the map. I couldn't find an address. So
I think
I need
there I
I
think
need
my yeah, there's an address somewhere.
you posted it before, huh?
Yeah, but it's Gardena, right?
Yeah, it's
Gardena.
Gardena.
Yeah, I might have had the address on the post, but I didn't write it down.
Yeah,
But you said it's tore down now?
it's gone. Yes, it's gone.
Uh and it's empty
Yes,
lot?
it's an empty lot. It's just, the lot the same. It's just the foundation now.
Oh
So
man.
it's gone.
So rest in peace, service station.
Yes.
All right, we'll go to the next one. Oh,
See,
just
that's
real
it's
quick.
gone. You can see it from the top. It's gone. From the
Oh yeah,
see.
yeah. Sorry. Just real quick. um the people that can't see this, describe it really quick how it looks.
It's typical Googie. It's a big wing. It's a big mid-century wing on top of the roof. It's a typical gas station, but it has a big wing on it, and the wing is probably 20 feet long, maybe
Or
20, 30
longer,
feet.
yeah, it's pretty
Probably
long.
30 feet, a 30-foot wing. It's just one wing, and then it has pillars under it, and there's one big pillar that probably was a sign, and they all match. So they went all out on this service station,
Yeah, they did.
but it's been empty for a long time. Maybe the owners elderly, and they just
Yeah, who
waiting for him
knows?
to pass away or something, or maybe the lawyers are they have to clear it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Let's move to the next one. You can see how he said the next shows a map that it's empty.
Yeah,
Okay, so tell us about this. Apartments built in 1964.
yeah. So
Describe
the
it for
C,
us.
yeah. So this is typical mid-century before they it turned bad. So this like the last hurrah of the mid-century. Garages on the bottom. The paint is everything. Those little squares. Oh, I love those. And it has the breeze. It has the breeze bricks, the breeze
Yeah.
blocks. So and then it has two things on the balcony. But it's like I love this. The colors. They kept it. They kept the colors. Oh, this is like perfect. You could do a photo shoot in front of this apartment.
Where
It's
is it
nice.
at?
It's in Signal Hill. It's in the city of Signal Hill.
Okay, and it's
Yes.
called the Sea View.
Yeah, Seaview. And
It is it on the hill?
yeah, it's not all the way on the hill, but it's on the hill. It's like 1836 Stanley Avenue.
Okay.
So it's just north of PCH it's after Cherry. So I just happened to drive by chance. I'm like, what the? I had to
And
stop.
it matches your truck, right? I
Yes,
don't have any
yeah.
pictures with your truck. Let me
I'll
pull
take
it.
a picture. Yeah, yeah. I
Um
posted it before. I'm like, I gotta get my truck in front of here.
yeah, no, let me see. I thought I put it in here. I'm sorry. Let me
That's all
see. This
good.
is like not my forte. Cuz you sent a picture with your truck, right?
Yes.
Oh, here it is. Okay, so let me share the screen for that one. Hold on a second. Let me go to the truck. You guys see it?
Yes. Yes. There you go.
So what is what town describe this for us?
So the to me the it's only the best part of this apartment is only the west side of the apartment. Other than
Okay.
that, if you go on the website like for apartment renting, it looks like a typical '60s apartment. Like with the steps and everything. It's kind of boring, but they did this to catch your attention, and it works. It's a
Yeah.
sea view apartment. And it's so high so high on the hill. You probably could see the ocean from
From the apartment. Yeah.
yeah, from the south side. So it works. What it works.
Nice.
They did it justice. And it's only one side of the apartment like this. The other sides are boring, but just the street side, they have so much pizzazz to it. So I'm loving this.
So what's in front of the truck? I mean, what kind of truck is it right here? You could describe it.
My pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my '66 Chevy C10. I like finding brown buildings.
That
That
match
go.
it, huh?
Yeah, that matches. Yeah. So when I see something, I pull over. I'll take note. So when I'm driving, I say, okay, I know where to go. So yeah,
Nice. Thank you. So let's
no
go back
problem.
to the main thing. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. So So it's those apartments 1964. Okay. So last pick that you have is your favorite sign.
Yeah, right. Not my favorite, but this is when, in my opinion, mid-century starts to fizzle out in the late '60s. We have the Westlake Plaza Shopping Center in the city of Lakewood on the corner of Candlewood and Paramount Boulevard.
Mhm.
I don't like how things were going in the mid '60s into the late '60s into the '70s. This was the beginning of the end, in my opinion. When
Yeah.
things start getting bigger, the light fixtures start getting like lanterns and stuff. A lot of lanterns. Went from atomic balls and round balls to lantern type lighting. So
Yeah, our favorite lanterns that don't turn on. And
exactly.
yeah, so and I also hate this type of like the shapes, like like I was saying the arches and stuff. Like
Yes.
I don't know. This sign actually has those arches in it. It's ugly. Looks like a piece
Yeah.
of nothing.
Yeah. They get everything gets wide and kind of boring.
And look at the
Kind of
sign.
boring.
The sign has like a million stores on it that look unpleasant. It just I don't like it.
Yeah. I know they they
Oh,
they crammed everything in.
yeah, I
They
mean they
crammed
have the
everything in.
lawn manicured, I guess, to still keep up that little lawn area, but it just
Yes, the whole shopping center is nice. There's some popping restaurants there and businesses, so it's a very popular shopping center. It just is like a time warp of a time that I wasn't feeling this.
yeah. So well, it's still there and still running.
Yeah,
Okay, so next one is my top my picks. So this is the Tropics Apartments in Gardena in 1958. I think it's off El Segundo as well, down the street from up the street from that gas station that we seen earlier.
yeah,
This is the original colors that I first seen it at. This is a Google image, but when I went back, they painted it as I'll show you right now. And when I first seen it, I was uh with somebody else that lived knew the area, and they're like, "Oh, that's a hood spot. That's where they slang. They slang this and this and this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I don't want to burn the spot, but that's
yeah,
what he was saying. Um, I don't know if it's true or not, but now I think I know somebody else that might live there. It's not any friend, but somebody that I know that might live there.
yeah,
But now it's painted and you could see the starburst on the top and then the breeze block on the bottom and then that weird funky tile with the blue. It's like actually little pieces of tile or something.
yeah.
And then the gated entrance. But now they painted it like this.
Oh no.
So they painted the breeze block and then the building a dark gray before it was white. I like the white
Yeah,
better.
the hipster gray. That's they why.
I know.
Hey.
So yeah, I don't know, but it's
At
not
least
the
they
same.
kept
I
it
like it
though.
like this better.
Yeah, I like the old style. The old look. That gray is killing it.
It is. And then they
But
covered the breeze block. I mean, the breeze block is still there, but you can't even tell it's breeze block.
see, exactly, they do that. They just cover them up. I don't understand that. If it's working, leave it alone.
Yeah. So this one is another favorite. This is the Livingston Laboratory right across from LAC USC, the old Art Deco hospital.
Yeah.
It just has these breeze block walls all around the whole place. And unfortunately, it got demolished last year.
Wow.
So it's no longer there. None of this is there. So I'm so happy that I was able to get it and document it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely it doesn't have a year that it was built, but it's definitely like 60s.
Yes.
Um and yeah, total breeze block. And it's funny cuz these breeze block walls are supposed to give air, but it's like there's no air going anywhere,
Exactly. It
It's just
just
going into the wall.
it's for design only.
Yeah, design
Yeah.
only.
Yeah.
And then my last pick is Moran's liquor store.
Wow.
Um, and I really like you've seen those liquor store signs everywhere.
Yeah.
There's like the yellow and white.
Yes.
Those are really common. This was built in 1960. This is in Torrance. I like that front patio it has. Like, what was it for? You know,
Yeah.
it's hella
Yeah.
dirty. Maybe it had chairs or
Yeah.
tables there before or plants. I don't know. Um,
Wow.
but it also has a breeze block wall
Yeah.
on the
I,
right
I've seen.
side.
I've driven past it here before. It's
Yeah,
nice. I like this. You know.
I like it. And you know something? A lot of liquor stores are getting remodeled. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Yeah. But a lot of them are, updating their inventory, so they want to update their buildings too. You know.
There's a lot of liquor stores that are remodeled now, like the sign is remodeled. They're like, yeah, they're kind of getting a little bit more gentrified as well. Not all of them, but a lot of them
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. They they get that craft beer and stuff like that. They want to get
Yeah.
with the times. Because they're competing with these beverage stores now. These big
Yep.
box beverage stores. They want to, you know, they want to get with the times.
Yeah, so I mean those are my picks. Anytime I see funky liquor stores, I go for it. You know, I
Yeah.
always take photos of them, but I mean there's so many more though. I mean, I have like over like he
Yeah.
said we have over 30 um different photos showing mid-century stuff. Definitely look on our pages for that cuz it's a love and hate, and I think when I post it and I write about it, people understand what I mean, that I love and hate it, and for the most part. What about you? Do they get it too?
Yeah. Yeah. They get it too. And I like to showcase it. Good or bad. I like showcasing. I like talking about it because it's something
Yeah.
that we all can relate to. And you don't have to be I'm no architecture expert. It's just we can all relate to it though, because we all live here. We all see it. We all go to these places. We all know somebody that lives in those type of apartments, or maybe we go to the liquor stores.
Yeah,
So
and the
so
motels are still there too, the
yeah, the
motels.
motels. Yeah, the motels are still there with their signs and stuff.
I wouldn't recommend going into those motels so much, but I mean, some
Yeah,
are kept nice, I guess. I don't know. Well,
yeah. I mean, especially like now, it's not like it was when we were younger. Like some of those motels were just drug shops.
yeah, no,
So,
that's true. That's true.
but the cities have been cracking down on the shadiness, but be cautious.
Yeah.
You know.
So, any last commentary on mid-century you want to share before we wrap it up?
Well, yeah, I'm not done posting about mid-century. That's one of my favorite type of architecture. Like I said, late '60s, '70s, I can live without, but I appreciate them too. So don't get it
Yeah,
twisted
and
when I said,
what you said earlier off air was you mentioned that the 70s and 80s, like now you're looking at it a lot, 90s even, because
yes,
time is passing. So now it's
time is
looking
passing. Yeah,
vintage, you know?
there's a school in Long Beach called Jackie Robinson, and it was built in like '93, I think '94,
Yeah.
and it's like I could have liked that architecture. Now it's like it's 30 years old. Now it's like this was cutting edge when I was in sixth grade, fifth grade. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
you're
it
right.
it, it looks like a '90s. It looks like if somebody want to do a '90s video or '90s commercial, they can go right in front of that school and do one because it's perfect.
Yeah, no, for sure. For me too, I am still I'm gonna be continue to document them. A lot of people obviously still live in the buildings, you know.
Yeah,
They're people that's their home, and I always want to say like I'm not making fun of it or anything. I know I laugh and clown on it, but I think if you know my humor, you would know that it's not malicious.
yeah,
And I just want to document it because maybe they're going to be gone one day or they're going to change it up. It's not going to be the same. So
yeah,
I have a few coming up. I'm going to take post some of that coming up. But it's just part of the archiving history that we do here. And then just to lead into that, we do have a collective that we all started called the LA Historians, and that includes me, Doña Junta Swami Chronicles, and Hood Historian. And then I just want to shout out what we do is we document archive history in our unique ways. We have other members of the group that do, TikTok videos, Instagram videos. They do really great research and history and just in their work. So I'm gonna shout out first. Of course, we all know Hood Historian. Eaton, and he does his page is called Eaton Does LA, and he's visiting all the historic landmarks in California, is it, or LA? I don't know. There's like over
Yeah.
600 landmarks he's visiting. So he has really good videos. We got Fu Hauser, and his at handle is California Graffrey. Sorry, I'm always
Yeah.
hard to pronounce that one. But he does history of California, LA landmarks, and beyond. We got Julissa Padilla. She goes under Miss Betty Davis Eyes. And she does a lot of like also videos, really great videographer. She does a lot of Hollywood history, a
Yeah.
lot of history of cinema and things like that. So she's really talented
And
and
she's the youngest.
yeah,
So yeah.
she's the youngest, but she has like an old soul. So
Yes,
uh,
yes, that's good. We need that group of people, that age group, to keep it going, because
yeah,
I like that. I like that she's young, and she's the one that's gonna be like, she's starting early. She started early, so
yes,
you
yes.
know, so
So
she'll be all
and we're
right.
gonna put all
The
this
future's
stuff in
right with her.
yeah, I'm gonna link everybody up in the podcast to the video and the YouTube. And then we have Ms. Doña Mari, Mexicana Mundial, and she also does a lot of Mexican American history, architecture of where she lives. So look out for her. Then we have Eric Craig. He's from South LA Recap. Definitely a great YouTuber on South LA history, and now he's learning to put his videos on Instagram and TikTok eventually. But he focuses a lot of like documentary videos on YouTube. So um we're trying to have monthly meetings or at least bi-monthly, and then we try to meet like every quarter in person to discuss. So if you're interested in maybe being part of the collective or joining us in a meeting, and you're into the same kind of similar history posting either on Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, send me a message and we can
Yeah,
add you to the group.
you guys can join us.
Yeah, the more people that are interested in what we're doing, the better, because we all have different eyes, different perspective. We all story tell differently, and it's really unique. So we would love
Yeah.
to have people also in the same realm.
Yes.
Also, Hood Historian, you follow a lot of mid-century Instagrammers, don't you?
Yeah.
What do you know them?
I follow a lot of people who like that style of architecture. You know, the more the merrier. So I want their input. I want their
Yeah.
intake. I like other people's input. So if you into that, I'm gonna follow you to get your take on it. Because I want to hear other people's opinion about things.
Yeah, there's a few pages I think mid-century pages that are also do some of the
Yeah,
documenting
like
some of
like hood like hood mid century modern. That's a cool page because they like they go across the United States, and now they
Oh,
doing now they showing stuff in music videos, furniture in music videos, movies and stuff. And
oh
like
nice.
I've seen this music video a million times, but I never noticed that chair until they posted it on their page. So that's a good
That's
page to
awesome.
go to.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a lot out there. So thank you for listening to our rant on mid-century architecture. If you want to follow our page, is Beyond the Facade Podcast on Instagram, on YouTube as well, Beyond the Facade. And again, send us any feedback on episodes you want to see. Follow our personal pages, and go from there. Thank you, everybody.
yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.